Apparently, Final Fantasy 16 is overheating the PlayStation 5. And why I'm using apparently? Because right now I'm not quite sure how big the problem is actually. And I think right now what is very important, we need to ask the right questions. Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel. And with asking the right questions, I mean how many people are actually affected from this issue and from this problem. Because don't get me wrong, I'm not denying that there is no problem. I'm not saying this because I have seen proof that PlayStations are overheating, but I also have seen some very weird videos where something is not quite right. Okay, I mean nowadays, you know, with all the fanboys, it is very hard to see actually or to understand or to believe all the stuff what is on Twitter or YouTube. Okay, so don't get me wrong, I'm very sure there is an issue, because otherwise some people wouldn't be that upset, and I can understand this because I would be upset as well. So but let's ask a couple of questions here. So first of all, how many people are really affected? And I think, or I'm in the impression that Final Fantasy 16 is or that's what I believe, one of the most sold games on the PlayStation 5. Correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the most. Yeah, okay. Not the, but one of the most sold games on the PlayStation 5. That means if there would be a major issue, we should see much more evidence actually. But let me now ask you a couple of questions, and I hope some of you can actually put the answer in the comment section, because I really like to know. So first of all, what consoles are affected? Are we talking about brand new ones or about older ones? That's of course a very important question, because maybe that's my launch PlayStation 5. So at the moment my launch PlayStation 5 is not doing any weird noise. I mean the fan is not even... I can hear it a little bit, okay, but there's no problem at the moment at all. But which console is actually affected? So I mean, we know PlayStation 5 is affected, but which type? Because I think we have now 3 different types of PlayStation 3s hardware revisions on the market. So is there maybe any revision more affected than the other one? So that's the first question. And then of course I have a couple of more. So first of all, or second of all, is it because the PlayStation 5 is very dirty and it can't cool properly anymore? So that's a legit question in my opinion, because if you just consider that some of them are, you know, old, like this one, how 2.5 years now? Bloody hell, I forgot when the PlayStation 5 was released. Anyway, they are old already, and if they're running all of the time, and I'm not a hardcore player, but some of you may be playing games 6-8 hours a day, maybe, you know, PlayStation 5 is much dirtier. And I'm not saying that you're dirty, no, don't get me wrong, but you know, you get my point. You know, maybe we have some dirty PlayStation 5s out there which PlayStation 5 can't breathe anymore, and therefore they're overheating. But why just with this game? So it doesn't make sense, okay? If there is an issue with dirt and fans and stuff like that, because this is my next point, but if there would be a problem with, let's say, dust in the PlayStation 5, not dirt, dust, I think it's a better word, then it shouldn't just affect one game. And my next point is fan. The fan, what is built in the PlayStation 5. Actually, there are 2 fans, if I'm not wrong, at least on my PlayStation 5. There are 2 fans in. I'm not quite sure about the latest revision actually, but maybe there's an issue with the fan. Maybe the fans are not working properly anymore. That can be a reason. But again, why just with one game then? Okay, so players should experience this issue then much more often, to be very honest, because it can't be just one game in my opinion. But anyway, next question is of course, and this is something what we brought up, or what I brought up a couple of months ago, liquid metal in the PlayStation 5. You know, they're using liquid metal between heatsink and CPU to have a proper contact, which is great actually. Liquid metal is the best thing what you can do, but it's a little bit tricky to maintain and stuff like that. And not maintain, but to let's say to proper install it, okay? But I'm very sure Sony knows exactly what they're doing. So maybe that's now an issue with older consoles. Maybe. We just need to keep this in mind, okay? Maybe I'm completely wrong about that. And then what about the expansion slot in terms of using an external SSD? Can this be a reason a reason for overheating the PlayStation 5 in combination with external or internal SSD? I'm not quite sure about that, but because to overheat the SSD actually you would need a lot of transfer, you know, hard drive transfer, and I think it's not happening in Final Fantasy 16. And then again, the next question would be, why just with Final Fantasy 16 and not with other games? And then of course the game itself. Can the game harm, or can the game actually do some weird stuff like overheating to a console or a PC? Yes, of course it can happen. And I just like to remember you on, I can't remember the game, but there was a game, open beta or something like that, which had a ridiculous high frame rate in the option menu or in the main menu, and I think it killed actually a couple of GPUs, 4090, something like that. I'm not quite sure about this anymore, but something like that. So it is actually quite possible if there's not a proper hardware protection, but thanks God, it looks like that the PlayStation 5 has a proper hardware protection and turns the console down or off, you know, or shuts down the game before something is happening, okay? But yes, I believe software can harm hardware if it's done in the wrong way. But again, this was just an example with the high frame rate, because Final Fantasy is not offering a high frame rate at all. So this was just one of the examples. It can be, of course, that maybe it's just happening in the performance mode and it doesn't happen at all in the quality mode, because we have more or less a stable frame rate and it's not that demanding on a GPU or CPU. So again, I don't know yet, but those are all the things what we need to ask, because if there is a major problem, of course it would be great if we know what the issue is or the reason is. Okay, so if you're now affected by this issue, then first of all I would like that you put this in the comment section, and you can also put in the comment section how you are affected and what PlayStation revision you're actually using. But what I like to show is actually how to maybe clean the PlayStation if it's very dusty. So of course you need to remove the feet here, which is quite simple when you have a screwdriver. And then removing the face plates, which is here, by the way, the black one, as you can see, is quite simple, but not the very first time when you try it, because the very first time when I tried to remove my white face plates, it was actually a bit of a pain, because I was very gentle. I tried not to harm anything, but at the end it's just, you know, about a little bit force and then it's working, you know what I mean? That's all what you have to do. It's really just clicked in, there's no screw, but it can be quite heavy. So that's why you need to use a little bit force. No worries at all, I didn't break anything here. But anyway, this is PlayStation Revision, I don't know, the very first one, launch edition. And you can see you have actually two fans. So what you can try, of course, first of all, use a vacuum cleaner, but be careful, of course. And if there's any dust, there's a little bit, but it's not, oh, the fans actually are very dusty. The fan, I don't know the English word for this, but the fan itself is actually very dusty when you look closely, but that's just normal. If you look at a GPU fan or something like that, or a CPU fan, they're always this little, the blades from the fan, you know, they are dirty, or they're covered in dust. Okay, the same is here. It's, maybe I should do this, but I would not recommend at this very stage or this very moment to actually remove this, because you can harm the fan or maybe more itself. So maybe just try it with a vacuum cleaner if it's really, really dusty, and yeah, give it a try after that. And of course you can try the PlayStation without any face plates if it is better than, and of course then you can check if both fans are actually running, okay? So this is maybe a tip what you can try. And then you have the expansion slot here, which is unused in my PlayStation 5, because no money to spend on a external SSD now, to be honest. It's just too expensive in my opinion, and I'm quite happy with, yeah, downloading games. Actually not, but that's how it is. Yeah, maybe try it if you have the issue. Try to remove the external or the internal external SSD and install the game on the internal You get my point, okay? Maybe that's a solution, I don't know. But there is not much else, or not anything else what we can do actually. That's all. We can try to clean it. We can test the fans. We can use it without the faceplates, and yeah, maybe without the external, internal, you get my point, okay? SSD, okay? The very expensive one, what you can install on the PlayStation 5. And then, yeah, give it a try and put in the comment section if it is now better or maybe even worse. Okay, my friends, so that's it for this video, and I hope that this is not a big issue. I hope this is just, I mean, I'm not hoping that just some people having a problem. I mean, it's bad that some people having a problem. And by the way, and this is just one very quick sentence, what I like to say here, fanboys are actually absolutely stupid, okay? Because what is going on Twitter right now, it's unbelievable, okay? We have PlayStation or consoles, they are failing for whatever reason, and there are other people they're actually having fun about or making fun about that. That's absolutely stupid. You know, you're stupid, absolutely, because it's not fun, okay? But that's all what I have to say, because otherwise it would be another half an hour before I actually finished with my rage. Anyway, I just hope it's just yeah, teeny issue, and again, yeah, hopefully that's it, okay? So what I forgot of course about to say is make sure that your PlayStation 5 is actually proper ventilated, because I saw also pictures where the PlayStation 5 was squeezed in a rack like this, maybe even tinier or even more squeezed in than here. And of course, over the time, it can be very, very hot, you know, because the air has to go somewhere. And what I realized, actually, the PlayStation 5, the back on the PlayStation 5, when you play a game, it's actually really, really hot. The same as on the Xbox Series X or Xbox Series S, by the way. It's getting very, very hot. So make sure your PlayStation or your console or your PC is proper ventilated, because this is, of course, very, very important. And then, of course, also what we need to know is how hot or what is the temperature actually in your room, because if your room is already 50 degrees, then you should do something about that, because that's way too much. But if it is already hot in your room, then maybe it is really too hot for the PlayStation 5, okay? Maybe the cooling functionality is just on the edge, okay? That can be an issue, combined with dust, combined with maybe a broken fan and stuff like that, okay? Anyway, I think that's enough for this video. So let me know if you are affected from this issue. I hope not. And if you are affected from this issue, maybe you were able to resolve it. So put it in the comment section, okay? Thank you very much for watching me, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.